I'm on a hat kick right now, so we shall see where that ends up. This is Lion Brand's Rewind. If you wondered what to do with that tape yarn, if you have some Lion Brand Rewind, I don't know if you've played with it at all. I love it. However, it's not particularly strong. It's really soft and squishy, but it's not particularly strong. And there were some things like the crocheted bag, unable to use it for that because I just wasn't comfortable with it being strong enough to actually hold things. However, whenever I shape it up the way I like to shape my hat, and it's not too hot either. It's a very good transition yarn. And what else? Oh, this was a fun one. Did this one. Let's see, this one I did with Rondo from Cascade. Oh yes, I was playing with doing different stitches. And this is if you continue to go in those front 2 loops, it'll roll rather than fold. In this tutorial, I did only 1 row of that going through those front 2 loops. And here I did I continued the entire band with those front, so it rolled rather than gave a brim kind of set. It rolled up. So you can do that too. Play, have fun. All of this needs to be fun. Going to be making a fun spiral hat on camel stitch using ice yarns. This is a really pretty colorway, and the yarn is ambient. And Colo is insane this morning, like most mornings, and so she'll probably fly across the screen at any time. I'm going to start out with a magic ring. You can do it any way that you like. Chain 4, make a circle, grab my yarn, wrap, and then cross wrap. Go up under that first one, pull down, and then going to make another loop like this. Grab it so that your tail is coming out toward the area you'll be working. I'll cinch that up just a little bit. Just seems easier to work with. Going to do 10 half double crochets into the ring. Yarn over. Pull through all 3 loops. That's 1, 2. Now because we're working, now I'm going to cinch that down. Because we're working in a spiral, no slip stitch to attach to the top. Instead, the back of this first stitch have 2 loops on the front, okay, just like any other stitch, but the half double crochet is really neat in that it has another loop back here on the back. This is what we're going to be working into to make the camel stitch. I'm going to leave the tail hanging down. I'm not going to work it underneath. I just like to weave it in differently. Okay, so I'm going to cinch this down so it's the size of the hook. Okay, so yarn over. I'm going to go into that first back. Yarn over, come through all 3. Now, like I said, our super mystical magical number is 10 for this particular pattern. So, and this is just a worsted weight yarn. What you're going to do is we're turning 10 stitches into 20 stitches. To do that, we're going to double by making 2 stitches in every single stitch. And 2 into that first stitch. Okay, you see there are 2 stitches in there. Now, we can go ahead and grab a marker. If you don't count the one on the hook, 1, 2, there's our first one. and then going to do 2 into that back loop. It's not really, I guess it's the second back loop is what it might be called, into every stitch on this round. Now the way that I count, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, each increase stitch is a multiple of 2. And then going to do 2 into that back loop. It's not really, I guess it's the second back loop is what it might be called, into every stitch on this round. Now the way that I count, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, each increase stitch is a multiple of 2, and this is the second row. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, finished round 2. Here we go. Finished round 2. Now, this marker, this was the first stitch. Going to work into the back, not going to do a slip stitch. And on this round, this is round 3, 1, 2. Now this will be round 3. On round 3, going to increase to 30 stitches. Our magic number is 10, so 3 times 10. That means we're going to turn every 2 stitches into 3 stitches. To do that, we'll crochet 1, then 2 crochets in the next one. So 1, go ahead and move our marker. And then 2, and this is an increase. So in the same space, the 3rd stitch. And then the way I count off is 4, 5, 6, 5, 6. So every one of those little double taps is going to be a multiple of 3. It's going to end on a multiple of 3. Okay, 7, 8, 9, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, oops, 22, 23, 24, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And 30. So with a little magic number of 10, each of the increased rows, and then ultimately the size of the hat, will be a multiple of 10. So the first round was 10, then 20, then 30. This row will, of course, end with 40 stitches. So in the back of that first stitch, so we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. Move the marker. One, two, three, 4. If you look, you can also see that the previous stitch was that last increase, then the marker, so that's the first stitch. And then continue around, turning 3 stitches into 4. Here's one way that I check whether or not I'm going to end up happy. I know that on my last stitch, I need to have an increase there. So I can see, here's the first stitch, the next round. 1, 2, 3. All right, so I needed 3 stitches left so that I could turn those into 4. 39 and 40. All right, so this is the beginning of the 5th round, meaning going to turn 4 stitches every 4 stitches into 5. Need to increase 10 stitches in this round. Each round is an increase round of 10 stitches. I know sometimes if we hear things differently, one of those ways will click. So hopefully I'm clicking somewhere. Okay, so they can be difficult sometimes to distinguish. This is the front of the stitch. This is that back loop where we make the camel stitch. Just pull it apart if you need to. Pull it apart, and the big loop will be the one that you're actually working into. This is going, if you pull on it, you can see this part of the stitch, this little loop, is coming down in here, whereas this loops around the top. So in this round, going to do, first go into the first one. 1, 2, 3, and then in that 4th stitch, going to do numbers 4 and 5. Going to do an increase. 4, 5. Going to continue that around until have a total of 50 stitches at the end. Okay, this is the 6th round. So that means going to do a multiple of 6 every 5 stitches. 1, 2, so let's see, there was the increase. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th stitch. We need to turn it into 6. So we'll put 2 stitches in there, 5 and 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 11 and 12. I'm going to continue around and end with 60 stitches. Okay, that was our last one. If we look at the next, we can see that the row below, see those increases, how they're lining up. Those were actually the last stitch increases for each row. See how they line up one on top of one another? And so the last increase row, you guessed it, it's going to be 70 stitches. So that's turning every 6th stitch into an additional 7th stitch. 6 stitches into 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 6, 7 and 70. And again, those last increases right on top of each other. So this is now going to be, this will be the first stitch of this round. The next round, no more increases. And your piece should be laying pretty flat. No more increases, 70 stitches total. Going to continue around until have a total length of about 7 inches. I believe that's right. Because if you fold this in half, this is how much of the hat is already finished. So what it looks like about 2.5 inches. So going to continue on for 4.5 inches more. And I will meet you there before we begin the brim. Okay, on this one, and this fit my head pretty well. How did I go before I changed the stitch? Let's see, the last camel stitch was at 7 inches. The total hat is about 9 inches. So, continue going around. Let's see, it looks like there's only about, this was substantially larger too than the crown. Until whenever you lay it down flat, about 7 inches. It's personal preference more than anything, but the edge that we're going to put on here, you will see you can fold it quite a few different ways and it's happy to stay there, and that's really fantastic. All right, so now the hat, look at that spiral, isn't that lovely? I do use the word lovely, and I think the reason why is because I watch tons of British television. Love British television. Okay, now I'm going to smush this down. I want to measure 7 inches. Yeah, that's right at what I'd like. Okay, so this is 7 inches. How far are we going? Ballpark. That's going to make our circumference right now. Right now the circumference is about between 19 and 20. Recently discovered fun stitch. I'm going to put the link below because I'm going to have to look it up. Oh, and it goes perfectly with the camel stitch. I'm back to where the beginning of a row, these are all my increases. But truth is, it so really doesn't matter. Working in a spiral anyway. Yeah, nobody's going to notice. Okay, so this will be the first row of creating the brim. This is the brim that doesn't have to be a brim, okay? It can be either a rolled up brim, which is, I wear mine kind of like anyway, I'll show you, but I wear mine a little bit different. You can wear it however you like. I like rolled hats as a rule, but anyway, you can wear it however you like. And this is cool. Okay, so what we're going to do is a bit different. Going to come back, and we're going to work on these half double crochets right here. We're going to work on the front loops. Okay, hello Colo. And we're going to go into the fronts. Going to work only in the fronts. And each time we're going to begin the first half of, go on baby, the first the first half of beginning these stitches is right below where we're working. So going to go up here, grab a loop. Now we have 2. Going to advance to the next one. Go up the front, grab a loop. And here's the fun part. Just going to pull that one you just pulled through the 2 that were already in your hook. Cool, huh? No, I did not create this but I have incorporated it, and I am going to put the link in of the video where I did find this. Hard time understanding anything she said. Well, no, I didn't understand anything she said, but I was able to watch her. Here we go. Go up, grab a loop, pull it through, go to the next one. Notice this is where the yarn is currently coming out. Okay, see how that's one of the magic things about the fact this works at all. Grab a loop, grab a loop, advance to the next one, grab a loop to come through the other two. Now, one thing I am going to do is I'm going to change to a larger hook. I'm going to go up to a 6.5 big enough change, because this tends to have a bit more give than this does. Okay, again, going to go. Okay, going to go up here, make a loop. Go to the next front, pull through both of those stitches, those loops on the hook. Again, go up the loop. Thanks, bravo. Good job. Isn't it interesting how sarcasm never works on animals? Go up through the front, grab one, go through the next, pull through both. Where the yarn's coming out, get a loop, advance by one, get a loop that comes through the other two. Now what we're going to look at is the other side. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous edge? Now this is going to be the fold over row. This is the rest of the brim that we do is going to fold up, and so it makes a very nice edge right there. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay. That's why we're going through the front too, so that the roll will be to this side. And then up. Oops, I went under 3. Because you're only going under 2 bars. See the third bar of our half double crochet. There's 1, 2, 3 bars, which is what we've been playing with doing the camel stitch, just working that back bar. Well, right now we're not working this first row here. We're not working the back bar. We're working the front 2 bars in a very interesting way. Go through where the yarn already is coming out. That's the last time we came through. Go right up there, grab it. Go to the next and pull that loop through the other 2. Okay, now I've gotten around to where I began. And see how it started going up? It's easier to see with these colors, huh? Okay, so now what we're going to start doing is we're going to, instead of these front ones, we're going to start working on the top 2 of these stitches. Now, whenever we did it before, these are not double crochets, half double crochets rather. With this first one, with that first stitch that we did, we're going to first, we need to go through our back one. This is the last stitch because we always work under where we are. Pull up a loop through here and then advance to the next one. And it's a little fiddly because that one's kind of under there, and grab that one as our pull through. So we can keep on working in the spiral. And so now I'm going to work where we going to stay where we are and then advance by 1. And that's the one we pull through. Stay where we are. Pull a loop. Advance by 1, pull the loop through. Where we are, pull up a loop, where we're going, pull up a loop, and then use that loop to come through the other two. And again, rather than working, last time we worked on the front, now we're working on the top. Let's do a few more stitches so you can see how that, make sure you work these loosely, okay? Not working these loosely, it's a booger to get back in on that next round. All right, and then this one laid flat. This was the bottom of the spiral of the hat. This is the last row that we did where we were working into the front two loops. Now, as we're working into the top loops, this is laying flat with what we had already created. And look at that. Isn't that pretty? And it's a perfect match for going in this. Of course, and the back side is different. This is the back side of what we're doing now that I don't know a name for. By the way, if you do know a name for this, I can't even say what it reminds me of. But anyway, and this is the back of the camel stitch. They're really quite dissimilar. All right, and so I'm going to go around. Now, at this point, whenever you get back to the end of your spiral round, it's very simple to see. See, it's a continuation. Because we're going to continue to work on the tops rather than the front loops. Because we're making a flat panel going up this way. So do that as many rounds as you like. I'm probably going to do 4 or 5, maybe even 6 rounds of that. And then I'll meet you. All right, welcome back. So I have gotten to back where it began. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this up just a wee bit, leaving a tail 6 inches or so. Now I'm going to come up through the next stitch, then go through that loop. I'm not going to pull it a lot, just make it match the others. Go back through and weave it in. I'll take my marker out here. Okay, so isn't that just neat? Ah. I'm on a hat kick right now, so we shall see where that ends up. Just over, it looks like 9 1/4 inches. And although the ends are not woven in, this will fold up very nicely. If that's the look you're going for. I'm going to try to get some shots on mannequin heads. One of the ways I love to wear mine, personally, is I like to take the back up a bit. And the stitches are very forgiving. You know how sometimes stitches won't really give you any play? I mean, they're just, that's where they're going to stay no matter what. This stitch combination is really good about letting you shape it how you like. And I don't know, maybe I have an Untouchables thing going. But anyway, haven't tried it on the side yet. And then it'll give just a little bit. These stitches will hold and give you a little bit of a little brim there. Yeah. And then, of course, the classic cloche. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, of course, with my accent these days. Who knows what all I pronounce correctly and incorrectly. Isn't that fun? That's fun, fun, fun. I think my friends are really going to like it too, and that just makes it even better.